Welcome to Blood in the Snow Radio, where we give you the latest news and interviews with the best in Canadian genre cinema. Here are your hosts, Robert Bellamy and Festival Director Kelly Michael Stewart.
Near the end of Blood in the Snow Film Festival 2024, Michael, your film, I had a blast watching it. But if I could, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself, your project and role, and a synopsis about what it's about.
Okay. Hi, my name is Michael Pierro. I'm the writer, director, and almost everything else of Self-Driver, which is, I guess, a very dark comedy about an Uber driver's night from hell.
Yeah.
Trying to make ends meet and making all the wrong choices.
I have to ask, where did this story come from?
I think for me, I have the images of a guy driving around at night have been in my mind for a long time, and the idea of doing something around the gig economy and automation was like in my head for a few years, and it took a while for that to like gestate into a story. But once I sort of had the idea of this app and the sort of general arc of where I knew I wanted it to end up, it clicked together pretty quick in the end.
And it's a little tense and for me anyway, because when you have like your Uber apps or whatever that you see from point A to point B, you know where you're going, the roads. This one literally is telling you turn left here, turn right here. You don't even know where you're going.
Yeah.
And to me, that's freaky.
Totally. I think the question for me, or the sort of question behind that idea was like, what's the difference between a self-driving car and a car driven by someone who's following instructions to the T? This guy, the main character in the movie, downloads this app that tells him where to go, but he doesn't know where he'll end up. He's just driving around following the next direction and the next direction. And so he has no autonomy over his own actions.
Even what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was the brilliant part of it. I loved it.
Thank you.
And how did you go about picking the people that you wanted to be in it?
In terms of cast?
Yeah.
Well, Nathaniel is one of my very best friends, and so I sort of wrote the movie around him. And then I'd say half the cast were friends or friends of friends, people that had the right energy for the roles. And then a lot of it was just sort of going out online to like Mandy.com and those other casting websites and just doing a general casting call, finding the people who, for me, it was about the energy, the energy that if I knew that they had the right vibe, then I knew I could work with them and get them to play the role their way.
Kind of like Christian.
Yeah, Christian was great. He was like, I mean, he was sort of a friend of a friend, but he sort of saw, I think he saw our call out on casting workbook, and I immediately, like, just looking at him knew, oh yeah, I should have thought of him right away.
He's got amazing energy.
Such a great energy and like so dark, and he really leans into the role, and those scenes with him would be nothing if he weren't part of the movie.
Oh, and he had a part of bits before too, because back when we were at the Royal, he had the Super Wonder Gallery next door.
Oh, yeah.
And we always had the posters and everything in there. And his energy is just crazy.
Totally. Yeah.
When it came to locations and stuff, because there's a lot of seedy alleys and things like that, how did you go about that?
The sort of few weeks before we started shooting, me and Kirei, the producer, drove around the city looking for the like alleys that we knew we could shoot in, or parts of the city we knew we could shoot in without getting kicked out. And that also had, like, you know, again, that texture, that vibe, the grittiness that we wanted to capture. So it was, every location pretty much was stolen. We would just sort of roll up and sort of park our car and try and like get away with it. And
well, it's nice because it's like lock. It's all in the car, really.
Yeah. So the camera never left the car. So when we were parked, you couldn't really tell what we were doing. Like all of our equipment was very self-contained. So we would just be hanging out in this car on the side of the road. It was
nothing shady.
Nothing shady at all. Yeah. And so I don't think we didn't draw too much attention to ourselves. We were a very small crew, so unless you knew what we were doing ahead of time, you wouldn't suspect it, I don't think.
That's cool. And back to that old app, I know just that first alley, like with Angel,
yeah,
right? He stops and pulls up there. I'd be like, no, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was like, that location was one of the ones we didn't totally steal, because my wife had a workshop in that building, and so that door was one we had to be able to open it. But it's just a normal parking lot during the day, but with the graffiti and the street light, it just immediately looks sketchy. But when you walk by, it's a very like indescript sort of corner.
Nighttime changes.
Nighttime changes everything.
Yeah. It's so cool though. Also with the drug, I'll say, I won't tell what it is, but those effects you got, like, how did you come up with the idea of just warping the screen? And
it was, I had a few different ideas of how I wanted that to look going into the production, but then messing around with them, I found the simplest was sort of the most effective, because we didn't want to like overwhelm the audience, and I didn't want it to become like the main thing. And so that warping effect, it's a very simple effect in the editing software we used, but I found just enough to tell the story and become part of the texture of the film without becoming the total story, I guess. We wanted something that we could like watch the story through it, like seeing the world through this guy's eyes. And if it was too overwhelming, my worry was it would like take away from the actual plot and the story.
Oh no, that was a nice little accent comedy in there.
Yeah.
The shot of him trying to get out of the car.
I mean, I knew it was going to be funny, but that gets one of the biggest laughs in the film that I didn't anticipate when we were making it. So
that's got to be the fun part too, is watching in front of a crowd to see hits that like just now, like you said, you never thought about it.
Totally. I mean, there's things that like we knew we wanted the movie to be funny and a little bit goofy and a little bit weird, and so we'd like put all these things in there with the hope that audiences would respond to it. But seeing it with a crowd of a couple hundred people and hearing those like big laughs, it's very satisfying.
Now, with being self-contained, did that pose any problems? It seems like it was easier for you because then you could roll up on locations, film, and be gone.
Yeah, I mean, I like to set up rules for whatever sort of creative project I'm doing and then try and stick within them. And so for me, the rule was the camera never leaves the car except for, I won't spoil it, but except for one time. And so that rule like sort of created the sandbox that we could play in. And then the sort of goal was to like, how far to the edges of this sandbox can we play? And I guess it opened up the world as opposed to like closing it off for me. It also meant production was a lot easier because we were essentially shooting in a single location, and that location could move wherever we wanted it to. And so the backdrop changes, but the technical problems of setting up a location was sort of one and done every day.
Yeah, you got a camera set up in the back. It's the same in this shot as if you go over to Walmart and take that shot.
Exactly. Yeah. And so for the budget we were working with, it really it made things, possible.
Excellent. Was there anything that you didn't get to do that you wanted to in this film?
There were a few shots like near the end, the last sort of 10 minutes of the movie we shot, or maybe even 15 minutes of the movie we shot in one night. And so I had a very ambitious shot list, and I think that night was the craziest, most like intense and adrenaline fueled night of the entire shoot. And there's a few things in my shot list that I wish we'd captured that would have just sort of been like the icing on the cake for me as the filmmaker, but nothing that broke the movie.
Would that be the same night that had that one external shot that you were talking about?
Yeah, we shot that. We shot all of the sort of climactic scene and then the final scene, the sort of morning after, all in one night.
Wow.
So it was an ambitious night, and I was a little bit mad at Kirei, my producer, for scheduling it that way, but it worked out.
That's that whole light at the end of the tunnel. Let's just pull the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, we just got to do it. Everyone was like exhausted after 2 weeks of night shoots, and so we were ready to call it.
And I have to ask, where did the idea of his co-pilot come up?
I think I knew how I wanted it to end. I won't say much more than that. But I also knew I wanted him to have someone to emote with when he's alone in the car, or something to talk to. And so I had a few different ideas. I thought like one of those, like a bobblehead or like a hula girl type thing for a while. But those felt like too other, and I wanted something that felt like connected to the car. And so once I realized that my car has this vent that like has a flap that kind of can look like a mouth, and I sort of just like the idea of two googly eyes came to me, and I put them on, and it immediately brought the thing to life. And
oh yeah,
he became a much bigger character than I initially thought because of like how emotive we could make it.
Oh, just the little flaps, like you said. At one point, they go completely closed. He's like,
yeah.
It was Wilson for
it was it was like the Wilson. He was the Wilson of the movie for sure.
That is excellent. Now, is there other plans for this film? Like, are you looking at distribution?
Yeah, we've got a sales agent she's in Germany trying to like sell it around the world, and Mongrel Media here in Canada has picked up the Canadian rights, so it should be out in the world, streamable somewhere, hopefully in the next year, but I don't have any concrete news to share at this point.
Physical media?
Physical media would be my dream, and so I think there's a possibility that would happen. We have a lot of behind the scenes and a lot of stories to tell about the production that would be sort of amazing fodder for a DVD.
See, that's my weakness. I like to get a physical media.
Me too.
And I get that signature on it.
Yeah. Well, if we ever get one, I'll send one your way for sure.
Oh, that would be awesome. Like I said, that's my weakness.
Yeah. I know the feeling. Yeah, I've got stacks and stacks.
Yes, I still have the big wall of Blu-rays. I will not get rid of them.
You can't. You can't.
Excellent. So, how do people keep track of what you're up to?
I guess Instagram is probably at the moment the best way to keep track of the film and me. My Instagram handle is at @M_PIERRO, and the film is at _self-driver. And keep in touch, and hopefully we'll have some exciting news to share.
That would be awesome. Yeah, this was such a fun film.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for talking about it.
You got it.
Join us next time for Blood in the Snow Radio. Bits Radio is a production of Three Evil Cats Productions in association with the Blood in the Snow Canadian Film Festival. For more information and to listen to other episodes, visit bloodinthesnow.ca and tweet us at BitsFilmFest. Music by Jan Gorman, produced and edited by Kelly Michael Stewart. I am Eduardo